about Palm Sunday. What exactly happened? I move around a little bit. Is that all right with you guys? I mean, that's what I do. So basically what happens on Palm Sunday is that we come together, and in many churches what you'll hear is, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. Blessed is he who comes in the name of the Lord. And what happens is that we start waving the palms like this, right? And everybody waves the palm, and we say it again. Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. And then we continue. The reason I'm not going to introduce myself and go into that spiel, I'm going to tell you that these are opinions of the church. And the church today, at this very hour, millions of people are saying that. But when we wave the palm, we wave for injustice. I wave the palm of injustice. I wave the palm of social peace, social justice, civil justice. You have to remember that in the 60s, civilness was not very civil. I wasn't there, but I read about it. I've seen things, but some of us have been there. I tell you today that when Jesus was asked, what is the greatest commandment? He said, love God with all your heart, your mind, and your soul, and your neighbor as yourself. My question then comes back to Palm Sunday, because Jesus was asked, what exactly happens? But we forget that he went through trials and tribulations. For 40 days, he spent it in the desert. And some of us are still in trials and tribulations. If you look at the story of Jesus, he finds himself in the midst of going 40 days fasting, looking, trying to prepare himself to find where he was. And in the midst of all of this, he finds himself tempted, tried. I submit to you today and this morning that some of us have been tempted. Some of us have been tried. Some of us are still living in that wilderness. I'm going to tell you, welcome home. In that trials and tribulations is where we find ourselves to be who we say that we are. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know all the answers. I'm going to be honest with you. I believe that Jesus is my brother. I'm going to be honest with you and say that if I follow his teachings, maybe then I would learn to love like we are taught to love. You know, I'm a grandfather at this point. And being a grandfather, I would like to tell you that I love my children with all my heart and all my mind and all my soul. But if I would have known how much I love the grandkids, I would have had them first. But the love that you feel for these grandchildren is totally different than the love that you feel for your children. But at the end of the day, you still love them. Love conquers all things. There's a poem that says, it's called Invictus. It says, out of the night that covers me, black as the pole from pit to pit, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. Out of the fell clutch of circumstance, my head is beaten but unbowed. I think that as people of faith, we need to learn that things do happen to us. And it's okay. I find myself at times when I look at things that happen, I go back and I realize that life has not always been kind to me. I started working in a church that was primarily one of the churches that most people would consider not a church to be at, but I found myself at home there. The church was one of the first gay and lesbian churches that was established in Dallas. It was White Rock Community Church. White Rock Community Church was this big church, and the pastor there was Douglas. And Douglas and I became very good friends. But you can't be an ally and then on Sunday give communion and reject them to have communion. You can't be an ally if you're out marching and then you come to the pulpit and then the pulpit becomes a bashing part. I'm going to call it a bashing party. We cannot be who we say we are 6 days a week and on the Sabbath act like we are not that person. I've heard things where they say fake it until you make it. I disagree with that. What I agree with is what I'm about to tell you today. I agree that we were perfectly and wonderfully made. God, whoever she may be, made us in her image. And we find ourselves moving forward as people of faith. The problem becomes when everybody around us thinks we're wrong. Is that your wilderness? Where are you today? I submit to you that in Genesis 3:14, God is walking in the midst and he asked Adam, where are you? Where are you? And he said, I heard you and I hid. Most of us want to know where our bank account is, don't we? We definitely look at that 2 or 3 times a day. Sometimes even 4 or 5 times a day. And then we know when someone went out to eat and they didn't take us because it bings, bing, and you look at your phone. Where were you? I see you went to have a hamburger without me. I believe that as Jesus spent his time in the wilderness, he perfected who he was as a person. I think we need to start looking inside and start to perfect who we are as people. We need to understand that you were perfectly and wonderfully made. You're not an accident. You're put on this earth for a reason. And that reason is we need to fight together. We need to look forward together. We need to move forward. You know, we all learned the song and when we were young. And we sing it, right? This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Do we really let it shine? I believe we're the best denomination that exists. I believe that we're the best church that exists. I believe for such a time as this, we're put where we are so that we can move forward and work with people in our community. I believe that we're supposed to be different. I believe that we find ourselves in the midst of people that think different, and that's what makes us unique and wonderful and perfectly and wonderfully made. Because I don't have all the answers, but you don't either. Because we don't have all the questions. But I do have something to tell you. Jesus spent 40 days in the wilderness. Then he comes out, he tells his disciples, go out and find a colt and bring it here. And if they ask why, let them know that the Lord has use for it. He gets on this donkey, a colt if you want to call it. He gets on it and he starts to ride. And the same people that were saying, Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest, were crucifying him on Friday. What does that mean for us? That means that those people around us sometimes are around us that will hurt us. I'm going back to a thought that I had in my mind. And the thought is that there was this man that, and if you've heard this, just bear with me for a minute. So this man, all of a sudden, it starts to rain, and it's raining, and it's raining, and it's raining, and all of a sudden he hears a knock on the door. You need to come out, because there's a flood coming, and it's still raining, and we need to get you out. He said, oh no, my God will save me. Go ahead and go. The water started coming up. Coming up, coming up. And then all of a sudden, there's a boat out there. And they come in and get him. Hey man, come on. It's time for you to come. Don't worry about it. My God will save me. Now the water's up to the roof. He's standing on the roof, and here comes the helicopter. I can just imagine. Right? They throw a rope out, and they tell him, come on, come on. My God will save me. It kept raining, and he died. He gets to the place, and he asks, hey man, what happened? I believed in you. I had hope in you. I thought you were going to help me. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little angsty there. And the response back was, didn't I send somebody to knock at your door? Didn't I send a boat? Didn't I send you a helicopter? Hosanna, Hosanna in the highest. You guys are my boats. You guys are my helicopters. You guys are the voice of reason when I cannot reason anymore. You, congregation, my friends, my peers, those people with the living energy of the Spirit that you have inside of you, who are different in each and every way, but we're together because we love one another. I conclude with saying this. Join along if you know it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Ask, and I plead the fifth on things that I can't answer. But I will be honest with you. My name is Pablo Guardiola. I have served as a pastor. I have served in many churches. I have served just being who I am as a person. I was a friend, or an ally as they call them now, before it was cool to be an ally. I've been spit, I've been slapped, I've been hit, I've been accused, I've lost everything for believing in what I believe. And what I believe is very simple. I love you. And that love conquers all. And within our denomination, this love that we feel here today, this little light of mine, it has to shine outside. It's easy to come in here and give your opinion. But integrity is forged when nobody sees it.